Maybe not. Technical difficulties, just a second. Okay, let me try to fix this here so you can see it in its intended format. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for making time to join us today. Happy New Year. Still, I think it's still safe like through January to say Happy New Year. And everything's been so crazy anyways, who cares? We'll make up our own rules. So we'll take some time today to look at our 2021 company outlook. And this year we know more than ever to buckle up and be prepared for anything. So presentation that quite a few people worked on here today. So I'll go through it. We'll try to be quick. This is not a like an approved training class in terms of commission approved training, so we don't have to stick to a timeline. We'll just try to move as quickly as possible. If there's questions on this at any point, maybe pop them in the chat, and I may miss the chat, so someone, maybe Scott or Lauren, type up and let me know if I miss it. So we'll get started. If I can figure out how to run this. Are you still seeing it? Because it's taken over my whole computer, so I don't know if I'm using this correctly. Okay. All right, you should see core value refresher on your screen.
We don't see that. It's just a white screen.
Do you see it now?
No. You have it says like you're on the presenters notes slide.
There we go.
Maybe Scott can come assist you.
Probably going to need that. There is not an option at this point for me to go in any direction.
There we go. Now it's working.
What are we on? Oh.
Welcome and lead change.
All right. It's on. It's apparently working now. Scott's here to save the day, but he may need to. All right. Well, like I said, buckle up for 2021. Okay. So core value wise, I've in May this year, it will mark my 21st year working with PJMRE real estate. So I saw your face, Eric, making fun of my age. But when I first started here, it was, the company was only a couple years old. It was like growing, but still real, everything was real scrappy and like was a small group. So you kind of like the values were just sort of implied. And then as it grew, there wasn't always like a measure of those values. They weren't written down anywhere. So they were sort of fluid, and someone's value might come into the group and it was like, well, is that really a group value? And one of my mentors along the way, he pulled some of us aside and said, listen, like as he grew, he's the CEO of Medical Solutions, and he grew that company from like 65 people to, there are thousands of people now. working at Medical Solutions. And he said, the biggest lesson I learned in our very fast track of growth is that our value system was essential, and we didn't have it down. We lost track of it. And it was a huge misstep because we had to go back and we had to like reevaluate our value system and then get everybody to understand it. And it took way more time and effort than had we just done it right at the beginning. So I'm not saying that when I started here, we didn't do it right at the beginning. We just did kind of what you have to do when you're growing a company. But we got to a point, as some of you know, gosh, about 7 years ago, where we said like, okay, now is our time to really put this right and put it down. And so some of you that were here will remember we had 13 core values written down. And what we did is we formed a committee, and I think Eric, you were one of the co-chairs of that committee, if I remember right. And we took one value and spent a month on it, and then the next value the next month. So we had 13 months of values, and we had all sorts of sessions and activities around them. And then in the 14th month, we stopped, we reflected, and we said, what just happened? And 13 core values is way too many, is what we said. We were like, they're great. A lot of them, though, had overlap and connection. And we wanted to be able to remember the values, be able, the goal would be able to recite them and have them be truly meaningful instead of so many that it's like, this kind of fits in. So that's how we got down to the 6 core values that we have. It really wasn't just me going back to that mentor meeting where he said, you should have values and write them down. It was a process. It was thoughtfully done. It was done with many, many voices. And what we found is they still ring true. So anybody who comes to work or affiliate with PJ Morgan in any way at this point, we talk about our core values in that first session. And we talk about them as if you don't align with these, this isn't going to be the right fit for you, because these really do ring true to how we make decisions. And when we get called to the table as a leadership team, like, are we doing what fits within the value system? When we made a wrong decision, which we do because we're human, we'll say, oops, that didn't fit our value system. That would have been an easy fix had we stepped back and looked at that. So these are really important to reflect on. So first one that we have up on the screen is welcome and lead change. And what good timing for it. Last year was definitely a test of this, like not only for us, but for the whole world. But it was such a good reminder of, you have to be able to embrace it and adapt and live with it in some ways, and then use it as a motivation to keep moving forward. That's how I always look at this one. It shaped me from worrying. I worry less and get excited more when I think about this value. Like, I'm like, okay, I know something's going to change. And so rather than let it cripple me, I'm going to be the lead of the change, or as much of a leader of change as I can be, because then you're ahead of the game. So I think that's how we've always tried to look at this value. And it's served us well every time that we've looked at it in that way. Going to try to move ahead a slide, and I may need Scott at this point.
I already put my mask
Ah,
on.
nice.
You
Technical
said you were
assist.
moving slides and I put my mask on.
See what it does when you hit the play?
Try stopping sharing for a second.
Right there.
Mm.
I can stop share. I have to go this way.
I'm so glad we're recording this.
Me too.
Just don't go.
There you go. You have to move it back to the. I could probably do is just take it off that screen.
Alternately, I could pull it up on mine and tab through it as you go if you want.
We could do that.
Is that going to be easier for you? Amanda, will you just watch the waiting room since I won't be able to see it?
We'll just
Yeah,
do
let's
that.
just vote.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, it wasn't just me.
Give me 2 seconds to get it pulled up here.
Before we did this, I should have asked who could name all the core values from memory, but you could cheat and have them at your desk. So can anyone honestly do that? Gonna have to-
I heard that Gemma could.
Really,
Don't
Gemma?
call me out. Don't call me out like that. They're also right in front of me, so it's not really
Fair.
fair.
Erica said she could name them all.
Back to life when we're doing in-person sessions where we can make sure we can see you face to face. If you've not been to, which a lot of you haven't, like a in-person event with us, we will frequently have a little game at the beginning of it. Susan loves a game, so watch out. Okay. So again, this one was a real, I think I heard a lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic, they brought this core value up to us saying how appropriate it was to go into something so scary personally and professionally. So many people went into 2020 thinking, gosh, things have been so great. It's going to get even better. And depending what you do, it may not have changed at all. And that might have rung true. And you were going, okay, remember humility. Like the residential market is so strong. Like the sales market stayed so strong through 2020. There were a few quiet moments at the beginning, but I think that rang true. Same with the property management and rental market. Like things stayed really busy and solid. If you're on the commercial sales team, the like rug got ripped out from underneath you overnight, literally. So we had like a whole variety of how to apply this value under one roof. And it really does, it does make a difference in how you approach it. Like, you know, instead of, so those of us on the commercial team, instead of, you know, sticking our head under the pillow and crying for more than 1 week. I mean, we did take a good week to do it. But after that, it was pivot and move and kick some butt and move forward. And I mean, I saw so many people adapt. We just shifted to, like, a great example was Colleen Mason picking up, and she does not necessarily love to sell a residential property, but she ended up selling dozens of homes that were rental properties. They were investments, and it opened up a whole set of opportunity for her that she ran with. So, and that was because she's like, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to figure this out. And she did. So really a practical value that you should always keep in mind. If you could move to the next slide, Lauren. I believe that's going to be stay true to ourselves when it pops up. So I'll jump into it so we're not waiting. This one, and the way it rings true to me is, staying true to ourselves. I like to tell people when I first started in real estate, I had this image of what I was supposed to do and be and how I was supposed to act and behave to be successful. And I kept trying to jam myself into that mold, and it never ever worked. It was just impossible for me and miserable. And I was like, did I pick the wrong thing to do? Like, how am I ever going to figure this out? And then I started to realize, like, I'm not being true to myself. Throw away all the crap I'm doing and do what feels right and do what is authentically me. And it was like an overnight change and an awakening for me in my abilities and my strengths and getting to do what I wanted to do within my career. And that's, I think, why people get into real estate. Like they say, this is an opportunity for me to help people. That's usually the first thing we hear people say is like, I love real estate because I get to help people. But the other thing about real estate is there's a lot of independence and a lot of ability to get to do what you want. So you should stay true to who you are. You will just do better. And as doing better, it allows you to get to do other, like the things. Once I started doing that, I also got to do, I always wanted to get involved with nonprofits. As soon as I started embracing this, my like personal passion with community exploded. Like I got involved with a ton of boards and a lot of organizations, more than I could be involved with. So other people were like, hey, how do I get involved? Well, here's opportunities. And it just allows you to be your best self when you stay true to yourself, I believe. We can go to the next one, please. Cultivate lifelong relationships. Literally just had a call with Derek in the last hour, and we had an agent who is trying to basically screw him out of a deal. And it's just about one deal for that agent. And we talked for a bit about how, you know, what a market impression this guy has made, not only on us, but on probably everyone else involved with the transaction. This guy's in it for a paycheck. He's in it for one deal to get his cash and to run. And the rest of everyone else involved in this transaction, we're here because of a relationship and respect for each other. And we want to walk away from this deal with the ability to do more work together and help each other with other successes. And this guy has pigeonholed himself in the corner as an idiot, frankly, because he's not thought about this key thing right here of relationships. It's the most important part of what we do. It's not a transaction, it's building relationships. So this should always be front and center. Whether you're opening the door for a customer, like when I park out front, I will see someone like going up to the drop box, especially right now in winter when it's icy. I'm like, hey, can I help you? And they're like, who are you? Who are you, random man, taking my money? Or whatever important document I have to drop off. And so I'll stop and talk to them and explain to them. And like, oh gosh, thanks for taking the time to do that. Well, who cares? It's a big deal. I mean, it's important to me that you have trust in us. And it's just a step in building the relationship. And I think a lot of you have heard me say before too, everything we do is a ripple in someone's life, whether it's, you know, them, whether it's a vendor that is working with us and they're a, you know, one woman show, one man show, like they need our work and count on it and count on us doing what we need to do to get them paid in a timely manner, or they're renting an apartment from us and that's stability for their children, or they bought their own house, they're investing in commercial real estate. Like those are huge things to everybody we work with. And so this value should always stand out front and center when you're thinking about what you're doing. Next one, please. think like a business, act like a family. I really love this one. It's pretty key when we tell people like we are excited for opportunity and growth of this company. Like though, you know, who wants to work somewhere that's stagnant? Like, we're good. we've done what we need to do. Let's just keep going down this same road. But as we grow, like this is one of the key things in bringing people into the fold in the team. Like it has to still feel like a family. Otherwise, how do you act like one? So we need to keep that kind of front and center when people are coming into the fold. And I think, you know, it makes it real easy to make decisions too. We've had quite a few times where we've had to make pretty quick pivots, and when it came down to, is this pivot really worth it? It's yes, because even though what we need to get done is for the business, it doesn't feel like we're acting like a family when we do it. And I could get into specific examples, but some of them are probably emotional, and we'll keep no tears today and keep it positive. So I think that one also is fairly self-explanatory in a lot of ways. If you could do the next one, please. And this is one of my favorite ones, enrich the, I guess they're all kind of my favorite ones, but this is the one that I had the t-shirt in. If you, last year when we got to be in person, we had people display their favorite value, and we will do that again in the future. So buckle up and get ready for that too. But obviously what we do in real estate has an impact in the community. So it's really important that what we do is enriching it and we're adding value to it. And again, that's from working with the vendor, working on an apartment, working on Millwork Commons, which is 55 acres and a $350 million project. The whole spectrum of what we do is enriching the community. And giving back. The charity of the year is an awesome way to give back. When I tell people how we go about the process, which we'll talk about more, like their face always glows. They're like, wow, that's a super cool thing you guys do. And it's taken, I think, a little while for all of these values to get out into the community, but I do have people approach me now and they say things about our value system, and maybe they don't know to recite them like we do, but there is a very clear impact we're making in the community. I hear it all the time, everywhere I go. I love what you guys do. I love how you do it. I want to work with you because of what you do, whether that's coming to actually work in this office or working with us in a deal or a transaction or renting something from us. This part has really, we've really succeeded in making people know that this is important to us. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of all of you for that. It just makes me super happy that this is something we set out to do and we've achieved it, and we're gonna keep doing even better with it. So that, if I counted right, if I kept count, we had a few hiccups. I think we've covered all of our values. Does anybody, before I bump into this, does anybody have any thoughts or anything they'd like to say about the value system? Don't have to, I just wanted to offer it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so charity of the year. As I just mentioned with the community slide, enrich the community, we wanted to figure out a way where our involvement and our efforts could make more of an impact. Again, when it was kind of a smaller, scrappier company, you know, PJ had come off of being mayor, and everybody and everyone would ask, not only because he had a company, because he had been the mayor too, for us to do stuff. I think he felt some sort of obligation to do that. And in a lot of ways, though, it wasn't making meaningful impact when we would send a $50 check, a $100 check. We'll sponsor that thing, but nobody attended it. We have tickets to this. Who would take them? No one would. So that just felt kind of, frankly, it felt sort of miserable to me, and it definitely was not true to ourselves. Like, we want to make impact. How are we going to do that? So naturally, I thought chili cook-off, and Susan looked at me like I was crazy, which wasn't the first time. So what we decided was that chili cook-off could be a really important way for us to bond together, be a little bit competitive, and the time of year made sense to say, hey, let's have the chili cook-off. Winner of it gets to pick the charity of the year that we will work with and commit to going forward. And honestly, you know, when we started that, I didn't know what it would mean, but going into 2020, we set out with a goal of raising, I think we might have set the goal at $8,500 for the charity of the year. We can pop forward in our slide presentation. You will see for the Global Leadership Group. So we raised $9,500 for the Global Leadership Group, which is pretty freaking incredible, of something that came born out of a chili cook-off idea. So for those of you who don't know Laisha Goodwin, Laisha joined us. She got referred to us by some friends. A couple people referred her our direction. She got to know Derek. The team at Alley Pointer Architecture said, if you want to work in real estate, PJMRE Real Estate's the only company you should talk to. So Laisha came and joined us. I think she called on us and we weren't exactly in a spot where we had a fit for her, but we knew we needed to figure something out because she was so great. So she came on board, quickly got her license, and at this point in time, she landed a dream job at the planning department in the city of Omaha, working on revitalization of North Omaha. So she still has her real estate license hanging with us, but that's her full-time day job. But her family founded the Global Leadership Group, which is, as it says, Live, Thrive, and Grow on North 24th Street. And they have a community garden. When we went into the pandemic, Global Leadership Group lost all of their fundraising support. They told us that they had about a $500 budget for the year since everybody pulled out from them. So that $9,500 that we delivered to them was a gigantic impact. I don't even know what percentage that is compared to the $500 they thought they were going to have to work with. So what a paramount time for her to bring a badass chili to the table and win, and then get to see that impact. I think the financial value always makes a big ticket, you know, the stars shine all around it, and that's cool. But there was also a lot of people gave time. It was, you know, masked up time down there, but people, they did work in the garden, they did cleanups along 24th Street. And then we had vendors go down and volunteer time, materials, effort, give them ideas and counsel, which, you know, you just can't put a number on any of that. And that's really meaningful to it. So really proud of that, to see that. Going forward into 2021, our charity of the year, it's hard not to recognize the big shiny emblem hanging in Rochelle's window that she's very proud of her award for winning charity, or winning the chili cook-off. And it's been a fun process to get to hear her pick her charity of the year for 2021. So I'm gonna let Rochelle talk to you about it, because I think it's way more meaningful to hear directly from the person and why they chose it than to hear me keep rambling on.
Thank you. So when I came down from the high of winning that weekend, I thought long and hard, and I did some research, and I don't know why it was a really hard decision for me at first, because there were so many great organizations in Omaha that I've been involved with, or ideas and what they support or believe in that I believe in too. And after that, the whole weekend, I thought about that almost every single person on this call or knows someone close to them or has an acquaintance that's been touched by cancer. I feel like, and I don't know if it's been ultra highlighted this year, but in my Facebook news feed or social media feed, it seems like a lot of people, maybe their friends, acquaintances in their 40s and 50s and 60s, are also being affected by cancer, some form of cancer this year. And then I thought a lot about it, and I came across our charity and couldn't imagine if it was my child or somebody's child that was facing that diagnosis. And our charity that we've selected is called Angels Among Us. And Angels Among Us works with a lot of different organizations and companies in Omaha. Their first line will happen when someone is diagnosed. They have a care package or care bag for that family. And that bag would be gift cards, thermometers, cards, anything just to bring a little bit of comfort, whether it's to the child or to the parents that they may need. One of their statistics is that first month that a child is diagnosed, one or both parents will probably miss about 18 days of work. And so one of the burdens, sorry, Ryan, I might have tears. You didn't in the beginning, but I might now, to remove one of the burdens, the families that they work with any family, their child's being treated in the state of Nebraska. So they don't have to live in Nebraska. They just are being treated in Nebraska. And they support them financially with a gift of $500 a month. And that $500 a month pays for their mortgage payment or their rental payment or utilities. So I really felt that for us, that's a huge thing that, we're able to support those families. And as we talk about being with them through any of our transactions, being with them through life. And so it's the good times and the bad times. Okay. I didn't cry.
You didn't. You did a good job. Good job, Rochelle. I mean, I frequently have been on marketing committees on boards, and the tears bring the dollars. So let go if you need to, girl.
Clinton was hoping for me to cry.
We are here for you. I have my tissues ready.
But there's lots of ways that we can support them. Financially, we can support them. There's different items that we can collect and drives, and then also time and talent and volunteering with them, which they're not exactly sure 100% what that'll look like this year. But Clinton and I and our community group will be mapping that out over the next couple months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like that's kind of the jackpot for us with an organization when you can give back in so many ways, because we're not hounding you individually to give money to this group, but support for this group. And that means different things to everybody. Some people it is easier just to write the check and be done. Other folks, it's an idea or just a little bit of time. So it's a really good one for us to get to be able to do all of that.
And their group really loves being involved with their supporters and letting us get to know the families too. And Clinton will talk a little bit about our goals and what we're hoping to achieve over the next year.
Cool. Is that on the next slide? Was that your cue?
That's Clinton.
Okay. Community group. Community group, Rochelle selected the charity of the year, and it's important. It's a great charity. We're really excited. And if we go to the next slide, we want to tell you a little bit about it. The community group is a great way to get involved in charity of the year. We love your ideas, and your support on this. We meet once a month, the third Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. And just a couple of reasons to join the community group. We need you. Right now, it's just me and Rochelle. So we could definitely use your support and your ideas and your help. It's definitely enriched the community we love and live in. These are local families. These are local children that have been diagnosed with cancer, and we're helping to support their families. So it's a great way to definitely enrich, our community. It's also good for social interaction. A lot of us have been locked up on, COVID. And so with this, as we pull out of COVID, there'll be great opportunities for, to spend time with other people. I mean, I'm sure some of us, miss being around people. So we're excited to come up with some great ideas for that. Would love, your input on that, maybe a happy hour here and there, positive, fun activities that support, these families in need. There also, you can make a difference in these families' lives. I mean, this is real stuff. I mean, it's obviously a very difficult time for them. And so it's a great way to do that. There is a networking aspect to this too. We talk a lot about, this organization works with a lot of companies across Nebraska. And it's a great way to, network with people, and you'll find things in common with people who have also possibly worked with this company, and worked for the same cause. It's a great nonprofit. They were really nice. We had a great call with them. Fantastic group of people. So we're real excited. Rochelle, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, I was just going to add on the networking. They have several activities throughout the year that are scheduled. Like they have a gala, auction. They have a golf tournament also, possibly a wine event that we can volunteer at all of those or attend as well. Yes. Woohoo! Yes, yes. So yes, there'll be lots of networking opportunities at those events.
Good stuff.
And we'll have a call for to participate in the group soon. So we just want to let you know that. I think maybe tomorrow.
Cool. So be on the lookout for Clinton to harass you to join the community group.
Yeah, watch for it on Workplace.
Cool. Anybody have anything to add to community group?
Or questions about the charity?
Those of you who've attended the commercial real estate summit in the past might recognize the charity. Jerry Slusky, who founded the Commercial Real Estate Summit, he's very attached to that organization and part of it. So every year at the summit, they do a big fundraiser there too. So maybe we'll have to figure out how we can show some support for them there. You'll see members of the group there too. So if they're doing it in person this year, if you attend it, you'll get to again meet some probably new faces from the organization. So pretty cool. Okay, well, thank you guys. Appreciate that. And congratulations, Rochelle.
Thank you.
And I don't know, I haven't scrolled through. I don't know if Laisha's on this, but if she happened to join, congrats to your family and thanks for all the cool work you've done. And we will always be there to still support. That's one of the cool things that we've seen out of this is that people, as you go through, might find yourself really personally attached to an organization that we're doing work with, and that carries forward. And it's pretty cool to see that happen. Okay, accountability group. Accountability is a very good buzzword. I've even reframed the word into like, hey, my clients that I work with, I make a commitment to them. They hold me accountable. How do I hold them accountable? Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's sometimes you hear accountability and you're like, oh boy. But it is a great way to just keep shape of your goals you set and what you're doing. So Kara, I think you're going to talk about the accountability group.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing the accountability group again this year, and the group will be meeting every other week. The plan right now is for the group to meet every other Tuesday at 10:30. We would start February 2nd. Certainly we want as many to join as possible. So if over lunch hour would work better, we can always adjust the day and time if needed. That was just a day that we set up with the current accountability group that hung in there all through 2020. I think we all talked that it would be a little bit easier to meet towards the beginning of the week versus the end of the week. We are going to be doing a $100 buy-in. And as long as you stay in the group, you're attending, you're not late, you will get that money back, a portion of that money back each quarter, or the group may decide to do something with that money at the end of the year. And then we will have like a late policy and an absent policy. We just want anyone that's in that group to be fully dedicated to the group and to setting out those goals and doing what they can to make those goals happen. We've got some ideas for some guest speakers to come in and chat with the group. We've got some activities that we're going to do, and we're really excited about the 2021 group.
Good stuff. Any questions about accountability group?
How do we sign up for the accountability group?
You can email Tara or I that you want to sign up, and there is a accountability group on the workplace. And so when we do our first meeting, everybody will log in through the work chat, and we will have our first activity ready to go.
Bam, good answer. All right. Any other accountability questions or comments? All right. Well, watch out for Kara and Tira. They run a fun meeting, so it'll be a good group. Okay, we're gonna do a quick recap of 2020 department goals. We're gonna keep goal discussions today focused on departments in like kind of the silo of a department and their goals. You know, we have some overarching company things, but it makes for too long of a Zoom meeting and Zoom fatigue, and everyone would zone out. So we're going to focus on department goals today. If you could jump to the next slide for me, I'll roll through these fairly quickly. Lots of achievements though. So last year brought where we did a change of property management now has a little more, we'd always wanted to achieve this, so kind of the residential single family homes and HOAs is one department, sub-department under property management and commercial. So we've achieved that. And in the process though, we still knocked it out of the park with a lot of our goals. We really, you know, we crushed it on the single family home management. It's an interesting time to do that because so many people are seeing high value and selling their home, and investors have a hard time finding rental homes. So, you know, bringing in single family homes in this market is a little bit of a challenge, but you guys stood up to it and did a great job. So congrats on that. Did a really bang up job on the HOAs. It's funny, the phone has been kind of ringing off the hook for people who try to bring in this type of business for HOAs lately. And if it keeps pace, we'll going forward, we're gonna have to increase our goal already for 2021, but did a really good job on those. If you are interested in learning how to bring in either of those types of business, see Kara. I will frequently say, all you have to do is know the person that they're still living and breathing and just get them in contact with Kara and you will get the work. So literally it is that easy. Like just do that. And you are credited with bringing it in. So, and then on the commercial front, we had a goal of 5 commercial buildings coming in the door. We brought in 4, and I would say that's going to be a bigger focus going forward. I'll talk about that in a minute. But given kind of the tumult we were in, we did a good job keeping the 4. Because again, as I mentioned, the commercial real estate market sort of hit pause last year. So jump forward a slide, please. On that note, with commercial sales, we did that team did a kick-ass job kind of keeping pace with trying to figure out what to do. As I said, we were spot on with our goal of 20 sales. So congrats on that. That's pretty sweet. We blew it out of the park with the leases, and the number of them doubled our number. Now, a lot of those were renewal leases, and we really kind of shifted and said, okay, maybe people, they just don't know what to do in this market, so let's help them figure out what to do. You know, I would say a handful of those, I don't know what percentage, I should have gotten that, but are renewals where people said for like a year, I'm going to stay here and figure this out. Which means in 2021, we get to go back to them and hopefully help them figure out even better strategies. We did miss the mark on the dollar volume there, and I think that was to be expected in the situation we were in. I think had we not gone through the pandemic, we would have easily hit the number mark, given the volume and the pace everyone kept. So really proud of that group. Next slide, please. Residential goals. So we bang on the number. Good job on that in volume. We're a little shy on transactions, but I think, you know, again, that the market last year was, I said so good for residential, but because it didn't stop like the commercial did, but what that team has dealt with is if you are repping a buyer, it's like, oh gosh, sometimes pulling your hair out over and over again for months and months. So, you know, we probably have 10 times the number of people in waiting to buy houses that could fill up that goal. It's just the symptoms of the market are always something you have to work around and keep that goal in sight and keep trying on. But great job on the dollar volume, and still a substantial number of closed transactions when you look at how hard it is to find a home for someone when the supply is so low. Like it's just such really hard work, harder than you always expect going into it. So excellent work there. If you could go to the next slide, please. Closing company. So just to kind of touch on this, because we don't always talk about it, and sometimes people don't even know it's there. So we have a PJMRE closing company. So when a buyer goes to close on a transaction, there's a title company involvement, title closing, there's an escrow closing and whatnot. So we have a PJMRE closing company, and a lot of you have met Jennifer Carson, Jennifer Bruckner, sorry. Her married name is Jennifer Bruckner. So if you haven't met Jennifer, you need to meet her because she's super cool, sweetest lady ever. So she helped us get to that mark of 92 transactions, but really our sales team got us to that mark. So we were so close to it, and a really great job. The closing company is set up kind of as a separate division. The funds that go into that help company initiatives. It's not just like an extra bonus to the bottom line. It is money that we specifically set out to reinvest into the company. So we look at education efforts, technology efforts, marketing efforts, all of those things. That's the pool where we draw from. So that's a benefit for everyone who works here. It could be training, it could be anything. So that is a really important part of what we do, and we haven't done a great job of talking enough about it in the past, so we will do more of that going forward. Next slide, please. 2021, buckle up. Next slide, please. All right, property management. We have new goals. We have a lofty goal of 75 single-family homes. Like I said before, if you have someone who's interested in renting out their home and they are living and breathing, just get your person moved over to Kara. Or if you feel like someone else on the property management team can help you, you know, a lot of folks on this call I'm just going to look at my first screen here. I'm going to look at my second screen. Beth, you're the first one I see. You've brought in a ton of single family homes. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you about it. And Kinder, you're also on my second screen. So really, like, these are a great way to bring in business. If you're working, you know, in a market that when the market changes, if you have someone who's trying to sell a house, this resource of having a property management team like ours at your back, if the house doesn't sell for some reason, is invaluable. So really learn about it now when you can, and rather than wait until the market shifts on you. I really encourage you to do that. And it also can open up a new door of investment business for you in terms of selling to investors. 20 HOAs, homeowner associations. I think we're gonna knock that number out of the park. We might get like halfway there in January. So I might challenge that team on that goal, but I'll let them keep it. And you'll see the commercial, we kind of shifted it a little differently. We have 5 commercial buildings. We kept our goal number from last year. We're still starting to kind of crawl that part of the market out of the pandemic, but we're gonna try to beat that 5 for sure, but we want to be realistic about a goal. You should be realistic when you set them. You'll see we put a different like subcategory on there of multifamily. We do want to strengthen our position in the multifamily market. We have people on the commercial team who want to start selling multifamily property. We should be, a key to selling things is managing it as well and managing it well. So we want to start to bring those in. If you're out and about a lot, any one of these categories, a good thing to look for are maintenance deficiencies, giant for rent signs, rent specials. All of those things are like leading indicators that a property owner is not getting what they want out of their property. So they're a great property owner for us to call on. Any one of these categories, come to one of us and we will help you bring in the business. Again, it is your lead, it's your client. And once they're here as a client, we pay you a referral fee for it. I think all of you know that, but that's part of the deal. So we'd love to see more people participate in helping us get to those goals. Next slide, please. Commercial sales. So we have, again, 20 sales on the goal list here. Just going into this year, I think that's a reasonable target for us to hit. We did bump up our lease number to 60 leases, and the leasing market is still really dicey in terms of people getting them to make a reasonably timely decision. So part of me wanted to bump that to 75, but I thought given what I'm seeing with people making real decisions, I think that a reasonable goal for us to hit is 60. I did kind of break apart our volume numbers for sales and leasing in terms of 30 million in sales and 20 million in leasing. We're gonna hit them. Next slide, please. Residential. So we have some bigger goals here. Our team has grown on this side as well. And I think you guys are gonna knock it out of the park with the 350 transactions. And I'm gonna guess that you're gonna surpass that 70 million as well, just like you guys did last year. So achievable targets for sure. Next slide, please. Closing company goals. As I said, we're gonna talk a lot more about the closing company. Again, it feeds so many things that are important to every person that works here. So we did bump that to 150 transactions, and I think that we will get there no problem. We're gonna get there with all your support. Next slide, please. Do we have a next slide? Good, we're done. Everybody just said, good, we're done. Does anybody have any feedback, thoughts, comments on any of the goals? Anyone think we'll make them?
Oh, Are we going to be like getting updates throughout the year on where we're at with our goals?
No, we're gonna wait till 2022.
We update monthly where we're at with goals currently. So there is a board in the back room, and there is a workplace board on Workplace. Am I frozen?
No, you're good. That board is right by your desk, Eric.
Means nothing.
Um,
Are the goals calendar year?
They are.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. Any other questions? Anyone think that we'll have any issues with any of those goals? Which is a weird question to ask, I know. I knew you were thinking it, Susan. Hey, I think that you should question things. And if there's something that is in question, like, hey, it could give a step to like shift something or think about a change. So you don't have to answer today. Keep it in mind, think about it. To your point, Eric, like if you feel like you haven't recognized like where we're at in goals and you want to hear about it in the meeting, bring it up. Like it's there, we'll get it, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about things more with some of those. And, in future, we'll be doing some stuff on some of the company goals too. Some of the things that are not necessarily driven by data of transactions, but kind of overarching with things we want to do and see happen. So we'll save those for future meetings, hopefully some of those in person. All right, I guess I told Susan, we'll get this one knocked out fast today, but we're all right 1 minute before 1 o'clock. Thank you again for all of your time. If you have any questions, just reach out, let us know. We should appreciate everything you do. And it's gonna be, I'll leave it at that. I was gonna say, it's gonna be a good year. We do often talk about us getting into, like some of us who were in the market in 08, 07, 08, 09, and what a rocky ride that was. Fine through it, and we all survived what we just did, and we'll survive whatever this year brings at us. So thank you, everyone.